Welcome to Wildcat Weekly. The Cats are home this week as they take on Nebraska Omaha on Wednesday night and Gonzaga on Saturday night at McHale Center. 10 games into the season, Coach, and let's talk about a couple things that we've seen stand out about your team. And start on defense, one of your favorite subjects. Opponents shooting under 38%, your team averaging 8 steals per game. What has been the key factor to your team's defense thus far?
Well, I do think we have a group of guys that have really bought in to try to be the best team we can be on that side of the basketball, and that's really where it starts, Brian. Everybody talks statistically about the offensive end, and in basketball you got to be able to do both, and sometimes you want to be able to win because the other team just could not score against you. Obviously, this year we have firepower offensively, and we've won some games this year, quite frankly, because we've been the better team on offense. But we just want to be a balanced group. Don't get me wrong, we don't want to just focus on the defensive end. Offense is important as well. But to your point, those are stats we want to continue. And our steals, that's something that this year's team, I think, has talent. Sometimes you have individual players that can just have that ability. TJ was one of those guys, McConnell, that he just had a knack for it. And I think we have a couple players on this year's team that really can make those big plays, and that's hopefully something we can continue to develop.
We've got 7 new players on this year's roster. What are the challenges of them blending in to what you want to do with the veterans in your system?
Well, it takes time, and we felt that when we played at Baylor. I don't think we were as patient as we needed to be. We weren't as smart on offense, and that's not taking anything away from Baylor. They're an excellent team, but that's the point. When you play an excellent team, or you play an excellent team away from home, you have to do things the right way. And in our case, that was a new experience for our group. I think it's a learning experience, and hopefully this week, as we play Omaha and Gonzaga, we can be better in that area. It's okay to push the pace, and it's not as if we want to slow it down because we want to play at a faster tempo with the team we have, but that doesn't mean playing fast and taking ill-advised shots. We want to take good shots taken by the right people. We want to be smart, and sometimes when you're playing fast and the ball's not going in, you got to slow it down to get that really good opportunity. And we weren't as deliberate or as patient as we needed to be. And you look at our stats at Baylor, they really speak for themselves.
You mentioned the offensive side, and it's obviously been a strong part of this team so far this season. From especially the new guys that came in, did you see them as better scorers when they arrived, or is it because they have adapted to the system quickly?
We want to play fast, and a lot of it is Nico. Nico is a unique player that is going to benefit tremendously by playing with a faster pace because he can both score the ball and make others better. I also think you look at some of our wings, Josh Green. You have Dylan, you have Max Hazard, Jamal Baker. Those are guys that can shoot the basketball. They can put the ball on the floor. We have a group of big guys that are more forwards than centers. The one center we have, Christian, I think his gift is his ability to get up and down the floor. And when you play with 9 players per game, which we're doing right now, sometimes 10, one of the ways you can use that depth is to play at a faster clip. So, I think we're learning that. We've had some great moments doing it. At Baylor would be an example of that we started to go down the wrong path, and we can never stop it and be the smarter team, and hopefully we learned.
Nebraska Omaha comes to town on Wednesday night. This is a very good mid-major program, won 21 games last year. They've got some guys that can shoot the 3, they can shoot the 2. What's the biggest challenge, I guess, facing Nebraska Omaha?
Well, you're right. They're one of the best teams in the country in terms of three-point percentage, but it's deceiving, Brian, because although they shoot a high percentage, and it's probably why they do, they're very selective and they don't take a lot of them. They don't score like some of the teams we played, Penn, for example, where Pepperdine, where they're going to shoot 25 threes and they're going to live and die by that three-point shot. It's how their team's constructed. Omaha shoots a lot of 2s. They have a really good inside player. They score the ball from 2 more than they do from 3. And they're one of the best teams in the Summit League. One of the big reasons we scheduled them is once we get into early March and they settle in on their conference season, they're going to accumulate a lot of wins. They're a dangerous team. They're a good team. They've already beaten Washington State from our league, so we respect them a great deal. I watched them against St. Mary's. They were winning that game at halftime. They've played a murderous schedule where they've been on the road for weeks at a time here, and that's not going to be to their advantage. So who they are as a basketball team, we have to make sure that we're ready. We only have 3 non-conference games left, and right now we're sitting at 9 wins. You know, our objective is to win the most we can before we hit the Christmas break.
All right, the next 2 weeks, academics takes priority here. It's finals week coming up, some of them starting this week and so on. And what are go to that word again, the challenges, especially for the freshmen when they hit that first finals week?
Well, they're juggling a lot. Some of them have already taken a final and turned in maybe their final paper. But this is a difficult time for our players, everybody's players who are on a semester schedule. You know, they're juggling practices, games, and in our case, our schedule has been smart. You know, we've traveled twice. One of the 2 times that we've traveled was over the Thanksgiving break, and then Baylor, which we left on a Friday. So, you know, this week, although we do have 2 games, we're here in Tucson. Next week, we don't play until the following Saturday. So these next 14 days, we really have it set up so that our players are here in their own bed at night, you know, being able to get all the academic support that they need. And every day that goes by, they have less and less on their docket.
All right, well, best of luck to all the students here as final weeks arrive. And for the Wildcats, Wednesday night, Nebraska, Omaha, Saturday, Gonzaga. We'll see you next time on Wildcat Week.